WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black.
Just me, guys. Just me, Oos. Day one-ish. Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Midcard. I am waiting on JB to get here, and so this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk with the chat until JB gets here, and then we will get started with the regular portion of this show. Uncle Howdy saying hello, guys. What's up, Uncle Howdy? How you doing? Steven Chambers, what's up? Going to be a good Raw tonight. Cody versus Drew. Judgment Day versus DIY. Miz and R-Truth. Gunther versus Jay. Chad versus Ivar. Last Chance Women's qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. You pretty much ran it down, Steven. It should be a pretty good episode of Raw tonight. They've got a go-home show to do. Because I can't consider Friday SmackDown to be a go-home show when it was already taped last week. So I think everything will be relying on Raw at this point to get people excited enough in the United States on the East Coast to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch this premium live event. And I'll tell you right now, as it stands, as we're looking at things right now, I'm not doing it. I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. to watch that show. When I wake up on Saturday morning, I'll turn on Peacock, I'll put on the show, I'll stay off social media. But as of right now, I have no desire to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch that show. I think WWE did a major disservice to Australia with the show they've given them. It's beyond the 2 Elimination Chamber matches. It's a pretty lackluster show. Lost in the Midcard. Yeah, I guess it is. JB is held up at work, and he will be with us at some point. I don't know when. I keep looking, waiting to get updates from him, and I don't have anything currently. Hopefully we're going to have something soon. I appreciate everybody that's here. Sorry this show is off to such a rough start, but sometimes these things can't be helped. But I appreciate everybody here in the chat, doing the interactions, keeping things rolling. I appreciate you all very much. Steven Chambers, do we expect anything bigger to happen to the Elimination Chamber press event on Thursday? I do not. I don't expect anything big to happen whatsoever. But I do expect this. Jeremy Bennett is here. Ladies and gentlemen, on the stage. He's back. He's ready. He's lost in the Midcard. What's up, JB?
What's happening? Yes, stuck at work, so here I am.
He's here.
Trying to get everything going here. Elimination Chamber. Hey, typical WWE. Only 4 matches announced, but I mean, we got. I guess those chamber matches will take a while.
Yeah, I was just telling the chat, like I have no desire based on this card to wake up at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning to watch this show.
I have no desire to stay up either. So.
I think they did a major disservice to Australia for this show.
It would be easier for me to stay up than to wake up.
There ain't no way you're staying up till 4 a.m. to watch this show.
No, I gotta do a wedding on Saturday, so no.
Yeah, I said, when I wake up Saturday morning, I'm gonna turn on the show. I'm gonna turn on Peacock. I'm gonna stay off social media, and I'm gonna watch it that way. But they would have to do an astronomical shift on Raw tonight to make me want to get up on Saturday morning and watch that show. And as of right now, it ain't happening. It's not happening.
No, we will get to our predictions for that show here at the end of the show. But first, welcome to Lost in the Midcard. And, of course, if you have not done so already, head over to WrestleZone, one word, and hit that subscribe button. And also hit that bell icon. That way you know every time we go live here every Monday night, 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central, 4:10 Pacific, as we lead you up to Monday Night Raw. And so we're going to get into the lead right now, which is a funny we'll get into it, but let's show that graphic first here.
Oh, we're going to show it. This fucking guy.
Did The Rock do this on purpose, or is he joining Bullet Club Gold? He is wearing gold right now. Or is he calling Roman Reigns a loser? Did any what is the deal here? Did The Rock just not know how to do the one? Or what do we got here, Matt?
Personally, the funniest thing would be him just not knowing how to do the one. But I do think this was on purpose.
Okay.
I do think he chose to not acknowledge the tribal chief at any point. And I believe there was a method to his madness in the things that he did with Roman in that promo. The stuff about Cody Rhodes didn't make one lick of fucking sense, which was extremely frustrating for me as somebody who wants their professional wrestling to make sense. But the heel Rock shtick was funny. The underlying tones with, already potential issues with Roman Reigns' bloodline is intriguing. But the entire part of the stuff about Cody and the logic or lack thereof behind it was god awful. And if it was not just The Rock that was in charge of that promo, if Brian Gerwitz, if Triple H, whoever helped him put together that promo, should all be yelled at. They should all be yelled at because it was awful. And that meat of that promo was very important to explain away everything that's gone on the past few weeks between Cody, Roman, and Rock. And Rock blew it. He absolutely blew it. And I think
blew it.
I think Otto was extremely disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know, it was pretty cool to see The Rock back, but it just did. There wasn't just any. It just didn't seem like there was any sort of wow moment in that promo. Maybe I was expecting more. I don't know.
I was just expecting things. I was expecting them to explain some things, and instead they left us. Honestly, they left us with more questions than answers, which is honestly not the thing that I would prefer. This close to WrestleMania.
Do you at this point still think there's going to be a tag match at WrestleMania?
Oh, absolutely. I think they might actually set that up at the Elimination Chamber this weekend. If you recall from SmackDown, they announced the Grayson Waller effect with Cody and Rollins at Elimination Chamber. But then there was that one very small segment in the show where they show Grayson Waller interacting with Paul Heyman backstage outside of the Bloodlines locker room.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised, even if it's just a via satellite promo from The Rock and Roman, I would not be surprised to see Cody and Seth's Grayson Waller effect interrupted by Roman and Rock, and they set up that tag match for night one of WrestleMania.
Yeah, because Rock and Roman ain't working on Saturday, are they?
Look, they could take a jet and go over there. Like, I think that, honestly, I think that's the least they could do. With as bad as that show's looking right now, I think they could do a big favor to the 50,000 plus people that are going to be in attendance for that show and let them see The Rock and Roman live for a few minutes. I think that would be very kind of them.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, you got Cody and Seth are doing a talk show. They're not even in a damn match.
Well, Seth, I can completely understand why Seth isn't working the Elimination Chamber. And I'm sure he would have had he not gotten injured in that match with Jinder Mahal. But yeah, Cody, I think the fans would have been really happy to see Cody work a match. But they haven't set him up with any type of storyline that would have made sense for him to have a match on that show anyway. It would have just been, I guess they could throw something together tonight on Raw to set up a match on Saturday, but I don't look for it. I mean, I know Cody and Drew are kicking off Raw tonight. Then, like, I expected that to be the main event, but now it's, it's opening the show, so I'm assuming that means Jey Uso and Gunther are getting the main event spot now. But maybe somebody interferes and attacks Cody and sets up Cody versus whoever does that at Elimination Chamber on Saturday. I'm not sure, man. But I expected a lot more from this stadium show in Australia than what they're giving us, and I think it's a little disappointing. I feel bad for the people who bought tickets.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you've got Rhea Ripley in a match, but it's against Nia Jax. I mean, nobody in their right mind is going to think she's going to drop the title to Nia Jax. If they do,
no,
I mean,
no one expects a title change. But one, that's Rhea's home country. Nia Jax was actually born in Australia. I think this is an important match for both of them. I think it actually has the potential to close the show. I think they might give Rhea her main event here since she's not going to get it at WrestleMania. But like nobody thinks for 1 second that Nia Jax is beating Rhea Ripley on Saturday.
No.
So special
God,
match for them, not so special for everybody else.
God, I hope not. My God.
No, that would if they put the title on Jax on Saturday, that would be one of the dumbest decisions they could have ever made.
I worry that they want to do her and Becky instead of Rhea and Becky, but
They could do Becky and Nia after WrestleMania. They've already done it on Raw a few weeks ago.
yeah.
Give us the match that people have been waiting for. People have been waiting for Rhea and Becky.
I just worry with WWE sometimes, but thankfully Paul's in control, so it's a little.
And I said I worried
better.
a lot more when the other guy was in charge.
Yeah, when the other guy was in charge. Yeah, when the other guy was in charge, we probably would have expected Nia to win at that point.
Well, if the other guy was still in charge, we'd still be getting Rock and Roman too, because there's no way he would have listened to the noise and pivoted. There's no way we would still be. If Vince was in charge, we'd still be getting Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40.
That I don't know, because he took his sweet time with not doing that to make me wonder if he actually wanted Rock and Roman at that point. I don't know. When Vince was still in control, it seemed like it wasn't going to be Philly either. So then out of the blue, here we are. But I just it's interesting that you think that Rock did that on purpose. I would assume he knows how to put a one up.
You have to know how to put the one up, dude. They've only been doing it for 3 years, but no, The Rock did guns up. He's Bullet Club Gold, baby.
Hey, I'd rather see that. I'd rather see Rock in Bullet Club Gold than in the Bloodline. Come on, let's go.
Dude, The Rock was in Bullet Club Gold. That faction would be unstoppable.
Especially if this story with the Bloodline is like only halfway done anyways. So.
Oh, man.
Or so they say.
I still think we're getting Rock and Roman.
Oh.
I think we're getting Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 41, and I think Roman will be the baby face for that match. Did some news break that I'm not aware of?
Literally everyone after Josh Alexander did it 3 hours ago is putting the hourglass.
The hourglass. So it's not about his contract coming up. Whatever it is, it's not about his contract expiring. Because there's no way everybody's just...
There'd be no way the new head of creative would be doing it either.
Well, he's not the new head of creative. It's already been debunked. Tommy Dreamer debunked it himself on Busted Open on Friday morning.
Oh yeah, I did. Okay.
Just yet another rolling report from David, 100% work Meltzer.
I thought that came from the Patreon. I didn't look at it yet, which we're going to get to later. So
Meltzer reported it Friday morning in the Observer. Dreamer shut it down on Busted Open. Fightful shut it down. PW Insider shut it down. Like, Meltzer's just taken a whole bunch of L's lately, and the man needs to learn how to do his news better.
Yeah, Speedball, Tommy Dreamer, Jordan Grace, Masha Slamovich, and Chris Bay have all been doing that in the recent.
Yeah, I don't know what it's for, but there's no way it's for Times Ticket TNA. We're all gonna leave. Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. And maybe I would even believe that slightly more had Tommy Dreamer not have done it. But Tommy Dreamer's too much of a company guy, I think, to go against the management and go against the grain like that and do that. I think whatever they're all doing, I think it's about something else.
Hmm. Yeah, and like ever since D'Amore has been let go, I haven't watched Impact.
Marcho Karrion Kross is not going back to TNA.
Yeah, no.
It's not happening, pals. It's not happening.
My
Look, I'm going to talk about a theory I have of Seth wrestling twice at Mania during our Elimination Chamber predictions later in the show. So it's possible, but there's a chance he doesn't too, and I'll explain what I mean. I'll explain what I mean later on.
I just forgot what I was going to say. Let's go on to the next one here. We got an update on Phil, Mr. CM Punk. He has given us a timetable of when he'll expect to return. He was recently interviewed backstage at UFC 298 by Caroline Pierce and said, quote, "Fingers crossed I was going to headline WrestleMania, but obviously now I'm not. But, it's sports. It's what happens to athletes mentally. I think it's harder because of the physical pain is whatever, but I look at it as a bump in the road. This is an occupational hazard. It happens. I'll be back bigger and better. I'm a clumsy idiot. I tore my left triceps about 2 years ago. So the right one was jealous, and I'm like an old cobbler. I'm an old car, like a 72 Nova, you know what I mean? We have to change some parts every now and again. So once we fix up all the parts, the engine is still strong and we'll be good to go. We're thinking maybe 6 to 8 months, but I'm not really in a rush to get back to compete. I'm in a rush to get healthy. I'm in a rush to get better. The sooner I do that, the better I'll be when I come back."
SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That's what that says to me. He'll be back at SummerSlam.
Is he saying 6 to 8 months from last weekend or 6 to 8 months from getting hurt?
I'm assuming he's saying 6 to 8 months from the surgery.
Okay.
But I believe we'll see him back on Raw in the summer, and we'll see his first match back at SummerSlam itself. That's
McIntyre,
my
probably.
prediction. Well, that seems to be the play if the two sides come to a new deal.
Yeah, Drew's. Yeah, we got
actually our next topic, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, what a segue. Let's go into that. Patreon a few days ago released the latest on Drew McIntyre's contract. It is still up soon. Ahead of last year's WrestleMania, Fightful Selected reported that Drew's deal was up ahead of WrestleMania 40 and that Drew was operating on the possibility that 2023 could be his last WrestleMania. That won't be the case, as sources have confirmed he is scheduled for WrestleMania. Who, what, where, why, it remains to be seen. He could win the chamber. We don't know. We'll see what we predict here at the end of the hour. Fightful has confirmed McIntyre's deal now extends past WrestleMania with injury and inactivity time added. And sources have indicated that McIntyre claims there are conversations between the two sides and that they want to get a deal done. However, they claim one is not done in place and nothing has changed on that front. Sources indicated that McIntyre was well respected within the company, both by talent and staff for his work, as well as media and community event schedule. You see Drew doing interviews everywhere. It was almost every month you would see Rick Ucchino and Drew McIntyre do an interview, it seemed like.
Yeah, that man does a lot of media. He does a lot of media.
I think, obviously at the end of last year, I thought Drew was out the door, but now he's being heavily featured. It looks like a program with Punk when he gets back. He might be winning the title at WrestleMania for all we know. We'll get to that later with our thoughts on that. But, I've kind of changed my tune. I thought he was out the door. Now I feel like he's going to re-sign just because of this new momentum. Just feels like he's giving a shit, and there's a lot of momentum behind it. Everybody loves how he's performed as a heel, which is basically now getting him more cheers, which is funny, but that's the way the world works sometimes. Yeah. You agree?
I think the money has to be right, and I think that's what it's going to come down to more than anything. WWE has a lot of top talent that they need to relock down throughout 2024, and I'll be very curious to see who they try to penny pinch on and who they try to go all out on to make sure that they bring them back. Like I predict like Rollins and Becky are going to be two people that they're going to go all out for to make sure that they stick around. I'm not sure they feel that one. I'm not sure they 100% feel that way about Drew that they feel about Rollins and Becky. Gun to my head, and I got to be right. Drew's probably sticking around, but if he doesn't like the money figure that's put in front of him, Drew is the type of person that will be more than happy to walk away to prove people wrong than to take what's less than he thinks he deserves to stick around a place. I truly believe that. So,
well, Tony ain't gonna hesitate to pull out the checkbook for him either.
yeah, I wouldn't think so. What do you think of Frantic World's comments? I'm kind of over Punk now. Glad he's back in WWE, but I just don't care anymore. Thoughts?
Well, I care about Punk because on his way out the door, it made me excited for him to return because of these things that were building up on his way out the door, especially Drew. That was a tremendous segment by Drew and Punk. Obviously, we also had Cody and Punk, and then we had Drew and Cody. There was like those three had great promos. And as Punk being injured and Drew attacking him, it really made me excited for when Punk returns because I think it's going to be a tremendous feud. They're going to have a lot of shit to talk about each other. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so I do care because I'm excited for him to return and resume this program with Drew. And clearly we're a month out of Punk being gone and Drew is still digging it up, so to speak, pun intended with his new t-shirt.
Yeah.
What about you?
Here's my main worry / concern when it comes to Punk. Is his body giving up on him?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did the same promo here that he did after he broke his foot in AEW. He's going to keep going till the wheels fall off.
Well,
But have the wheels already fallen off? I mean, the amount of injuries in the short period of time that this man has sustained is certainly a cause for concern. And I'm worried about him coming back, getting some momentum behind him again at SummerSlam, and by the time the Survivor Series rolls around, the dude's hurt again. And if that happens, at that point, I'll have to be in the Frantic World's camp. I won't care anymore because I can't continue to get invested in a guy who's going to just keep coming back and get hurt. And to me, at that point, it's just like, yeah, it's a shame. Sucks that this is the way it is, but if his body's not going to hold up, then, what can you do?
Yeah, and it's like there was always, outside of the brawl out, I mean, there was always this momentum, and then it would get stopped. And there's this momentum, and then it would get stopped. If we lose yet another WrestleMania in, say, Minnesota, probably the headliner for WrestleMania 41, if we lose another WrestleMania season without Punk, who also has a story to finish, because he came back to WWE to main event WrestleMania. Yep. Now, I don't know if that night one counts in his book or not, but
I think it would. I think closing any night would count as main eventing WrestleMania in his book.
Yeah, and Steven Chambers has a good point. Put Punk full time on commentary. The problem is where you put him on commentary in NXT. I would love to do that. That way he doesn't have to travel.
I mean, anything to keep Booker T away. Although I think Vic Joseph and Byron Saxon have been doing great. Work together
Byron's
on Tuesday
great.
Nights.
Byron's great, and Byron should have never been. I mean, that was a Vince thing. Byron should have never been removed from the desk. Him and Graves work so well together. But right now, Triple H is on what we've been obviously harping for, basically most of our 9-year existence on this podcast. We're a fan of two-man teams for the most part. They work very well in WWE, and that's what Triple H is doing right now, is strictly two-man teams.
I'm okay with 2 or 3. It depends on the combination and how they play off of each other. Like, personally, I think Shivani Taz and Excalibur play off each other tremendously on Dynamite. I find them to be hilariously entertaining. But you
And I
have to
think,
have that. You have to have that 3-man chemistry for it to work. If the 3 people don't have the chemistry with each other, it kind of blows up.
that's
And
like
I
where
think
I
and I think
think,
that's the problem.
yeah, because like I think with Riccaboni it flows better, but for me it's just Kevin Kelly doesn't fit in AEW. But Riccaboni
Yeah.
kind of flows better. Like Riccaboni and Nigel play off each other really well, and but sometimes even I mean hell, even with 4-man booths, sometimes they've managed a 4-man booth very well where that could just get clusterfucked.
Well, they had to throw Shivani on Collision because Kevin Kelly
Mhm.
wasn't doing the job that they wanted him to do. And Tony's not the type of guy that's going to just release somebody. So
No,
Kelly's probably going to run out on whatever the length of his deal was, but I don't expect Kelly to remain with AEW when his deal's up, because to me, putting Shivani in that booth on Saturday nights told me everything that AEW feels about the job that Kevin Kelly's been
yeah,
doing.
because I liked his work in Ring of Honor. I liked his work in New Japan. It just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just does not seem to fit well in AEW. I don't know if it's him not doing homework on the product or just not gelling with the guys. I don't know what it is, but it's just not there for me.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, I did not notice there was an update on Patreon. Again, I'm so damn busy with 4 jobs. I saw the headline about Tommy Dreamer, but I did not see the correction. Patreon 3 days ago gave us an update on that TNA creative team. Tommy Dreamer not heading up creative at TNA, which was reported by what Matt said, Meltzer earlier in the week. Fightful Select asked around this week, and after reports indicated Dreamer would be leading TNA Creative, they were told TNA's unchanged, and Delirious, Robert Evans, and Tommy Dreamer are basically kind of the 3-headed monster for creative that has been in place, and Gail Kim and Jorge Barbosa also going to kind of support them in the creative role as well. Ari Schierner is going to oversee content and work closely with Anthony Chacon on talent and creative, since Anthony's not really versed in wrestling in that. And Ariel is he was a GM for Fight Network and helped launch TNA Plus. So he does have some wrestling business in his background, as opposed to the TNA president who replaced Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, I got Dreamer's quote from Busted Open Friday morning
Okay.
after
Yeah.
this report came out. He
Mhm.
said, "Oof, I'm so glad people know things about my life that I don't know. Everything is staying intact how it was before with myself, Robert Evans, and Delirious from Ring of Honor. So there are no changes, and I purposely made sure this was a thing. So whoever reported about myself and my life, thank you. But as someone who has been doing the same stuff for the entire time I've been there, nothing has changed. Thanks for the promotion. I hope I get a raise with this fictitious position, because if I was head of creative, Moose is losing the title to me at whatever the next show is. Book myself on top, brother."
Yeah, there you
So,
go. Why not? Maybe I'll get over this, but I'm still not happy with what they
dude,
did.
it doesn't seem like anybody in that company's happy.
No.
I haven't spoken to anybody that's been happy about this.
And I don't know if
There still has yet to be any type of legitimate reason from Anthem to terminate Scott D'Amore.
no.
The more news that comes out, the worse it looks on Anthem, and the better
Yeah.
it looks on Scott.
And the least it makes me want to go back to TNA again.
Yeah,
Just when I got back into it.
I've lost a lot of interest in the company and in the past month. We talked about this last year when they rebranded TNA. I said the
Yeah.
one thing this company could not afford to do was to allow the LOL TNA meme to return. And this is exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
I've seen LOL TNA so much on social media over the past couple of weeks, it's not even funny. And it's all because of a self-inflicted wound, getting rid of somebody that they didn't need to get rid of. And there is so much dismay and sadness among the people in that locker room who consider Scott part of their family.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who signed with that company are there because of Scott D'Amore, I think Anthem's in a lot of trouble this year. I hope Anthem doesn't have a lot of contracts up in 2024.
Well, it
Because
was just
if they
reported
do,
3
I think
hours.
they're gonna have I think they're gonna have trouble keeping some people.
Just reported 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago, a former world champion's contract is up this year in Steve Macklin, who is currently, now again, I've missed the last 2 weeks because I'm boycotting TNA because I'm pissed that they fired D'Amore. But last I saw, he was in a program with Nick Nemeth, which is I mean, I kind of want to see. I mean, I like both wrestlers. It's going to be a hell of a match. But I just can't give two shits about them anymore with what they did now. If most of that roster is not wanting to give two shits, and I mean, obviously they're not going to let their in-ring product suffer because they got to get another deal. They got to get somewhere else, and some of that top talent probably won't have an issue with that, like your Jordan Graces, your Josh Alexanders. So
It's gonna be very interesting. Steven Chambers says he's predicting that within a year or two, WWE or AEW will end up buying the TNA tape library. And I honestly look, if they can't sign new people, if they can't keep the people that they have, and they can't get a new television deal, I would not be surprised to see Anthem just sell off the tape library to WWE. I would not be the slightest bit surprised.
Reverse your course and sell to Scott because you realize you fucked up.
Or at least just bring them back. Like, you don't even need to sell it to Scott. Just do the right, like Friday when talent shows up in New Orleans, Scott D'Amore should be there with open arms to hug everybody and say, "I'm back."
Yeah.
That's the news we should be getting on Friday afternoon. Someone should break the news that Scott D'Amore is backstage at the TNA tapings in New Orleans and Anthem had a change of heart. I don't expect it to happen, but if Anthem knows what's good for them in the long term for the health of this company, that's what they would do.
Exactly. Moving on, we got two quick little news items before we get to Elimination Chamber. Mr. Intercontinental title man himself, Gunther, hitting 618 days consecutive and has now passed the legendary Pedro Morales for combined days with that title now at 618 as of Monday. Of course, he faces main event Jey Uso tonight. A very viable threat to take the title from him tonight, Matt, but I don't expect Gunther to lose.
I feel like this is his biggest threat that we've seen so far in terms of a chance that he could drop that title. I could totally see WWE wanting to do Jimmy versus Jey for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, and then that does open the door. If Big E is good to go, and we surely don't know that he is, but if Big E is good to go, and they put the title on Jey tonight, you could do Jey and Jimmy for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, and you could do the Imperium against New Day at WrestleMania, and that's two big matches right there. I don't know if Big E is good to go. I still think all the signs are there, are telling me that he's good to go. But I don't know, man. I think if Jey wins that title tonight, Big E is 100% coming back.
If Jey does not win that title,
if Jey doesn't win, then it's still up in the
air. No, they're building someone back up through house shows.
The Chad Gable reports.
Gable, and he's got a match with Ivar tonight. If he wins that,
they're gonna have to do a lot of work because they've hurt him in the last several months. They'd really have to be putting some major steam behind him over the next month and a half in order for people to buy into him as the guy to defeat Gunther at WrestleMania 40.
And something I didn't mention in the opening of this segment, the 619 days that Gunther is Intercontinental Champion with one reign.
Yeah.
Pedro had the combined reign the top 619 days total. Who was followed by The Miz's 8 reigns of 597 days total. So Gunther's one reign tops everybody's reigns combined
See,
including
that's crazy because didn't Jericho hold that title like 8 times?
9, and he held it for a total of 318 days.
That's insane. You're a 9-time champion and you didn't even hold it for the course of an entire year throughout your 9 title
311
reigns. But
three-
Gunther's had
three-
it 1 time and he's gone over. That's crazy, dude. That's
311
insane.
311 counting taped stuff, so SmackDown and so it
That's
318
crazy.
real life days, but 311 days recognized by WWE. Well, hell, Rob Van Dam held it for 6 times, 224 days. Triple H 5 times, 200 days.
It just makes what Gunther's doing right now all the more impressive. And
Honky Tonk Man
I don't want to hear
that was his only
anybody
run too.
I don't want to hear anybody talk about how the Intercontinental title is an afterthought now. And
I
mean,
saw
granted,
somebody say
it all depends on who they put it on next and how they treat the next title reign. But man, that Intercontinental Championship means a hell of a lot right now.
I saw somebody say in a Facebook post or something today, Gunther's boring. I wanted to slap the shit out of that guy. He's got
What?
everything. He's good at promos. He's good in the ring.
I can't imagine having the mindset that Gunther is boring.
I wanted to slap
that's
the shit
wild.
out of that guy.
This is another guy. Steven Chambers brings up the fella.
It's the only title he's never held.
I mean, Sheamus has been out on the shelf for a while. I guess he could return and say he was a free agent. He went into free agency when he was out injured. Comes back, signs with Adam Pearce and Raw. Gets the match against Sheamus at Mania. I mean, I wouldn't hate that either.
No, I wouldn't, but it's going to be a surprise.
I think Sheamus is another guy whose deal's up at some point this year as well.
And there's no indication that he's close to coming back unless they're keeping it close to the vest. So, I don't know.
Well, Mark Cho says Gunther has no more records to beat. It's time to give it to Jay.
I'm not going to hate it.
Hit him, Moose. Day one-ish.
I would not hate Jimmy and Jay for the IC title, man.
That would be great.
That would be like Brett and Owen opening WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, and I think they kill it. I think they'd have a great.
I would open the show with those two. Night 1, open it with those two, man. Give them 25 minutes, man.
I don't hate it.
Last bit of news of the day came from SmackDown. We got Nick Aldis in a suite with Braun Breaker, Jade Cargill, and Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair also in that suite. I don't know why, but hey, why not? Tiffany Stratton interrupted as well. But Braun Breaker has signed on the dotted line. He is going to SmackDown. Jade Cargill might be a little pissed off at Tiffany Stratton walking into the room. Do you think maybe she signs with Raw tonight because of that? She didn't sign.
Well, the original report, she was going to be the 6th woman in the Elimination Chamber match. But it seems to be that WWE has changed course on that, and they're not going to do that, which probably because of somebody in creative said, hey, do you realize that means that we have to make her get pinned because she's not winning the match? And they were like, oh, yeah, we didn't think of that. And they yanked her. But she was originally scheduled to be the 6th woman in this chamber match on Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you thought that she may be a surprise entrant into the Battle Royal tonight.
There's a chance she could be in the Battle Royal tonight, but I don't expect her to win it now. Just because if she does, she's going to have to take a pinfall on Saturday because she's not winning the chamber match. That's Becky's match to win. It doesn't really matter who else. It doesn't matter who qualifies tonight. Like Becky's winning that chamber match.
It's cute that they're adding drama with Liv Morgan wanting to get her revenge, and you think maybe Liv might be a threat to win the chamber. But yeah, I mean Becky's.
I love Liv. I think Liv's great, but I don't buy for 1 second that she's winning that chamber match on Saturday. Like she'll probably get a shot at Rhea on the road to WrestleMania. It's on some random episode of Raw, but she's not getting the WrestleMania match.
Before we get to the chamber, let's talk Raw coming up here at the top of the hour. Cody Rhodes takes on Drew McIntyre. Jey Uso against Gunther for the IC title. Truth, Miz, and DIY take on the Judgment Day in 8-man tag action. the Last Chance Battle Royal, which features Shayna Baszler, Mi Chen, Alba Fire, Zoe Stark, and Zelina Vega.
Chelsea Green was confirmed today as well.
Was she okay?
Yeah. I don't know who else
I'm
they
gonna
might
put.
end up
I'm gonna say
including.
Baszler wins that. I'm gonna say Baszler wins that just because she's had history in the chamber. And then Chad Gable against Ivar.
He has to win. That's a must win for Gable tonight.
Dynamite on Wednesday. We have Deonna Purrazzo in action, Timeless Tony Storm in action, Moxley and Claudio against FTR. That's not going to suck. And a 6-man tag match, Hook, Hangman, and RVD against Samoa Joe, Swerve, and Brian Cage.
That's gonna fucking rule, dude.
Oh yeah.
I am all sorts of excited for that. And major props to Tony Khan for announcing that Rob Van Dam will be on the April 20th episode of AEW Collision.
Hey!
So
it's my holiday.
I thought that was great.
Come on, man.
Tremendously.
Come on, man. I gotta work on 420.
I think the second his WWE Legend deal's up, he's signing with AEW. I think it's just a matter of time at this point.
Boy, that crowd's gonna pop when Joe and Hook go face to face.
It's gonna be good shit, pal.
All right, elimination.
I'd main event with that thing.
Eliminate. Oh, you could do either 6-man or the tag matches main event.
I would go with the 6. I would go with the 6-man personally.
Yeah, you got the main event of Revolution in that, so yeah, I agree. But you could also main event Moxley and Claudio and FTR.
I think that'll probably open.
4 matches on the card so far for Elimination Chamber. Tag team match for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Judgment Day against New Catch Republic. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Do you see the titles finally changing?
0 chance.
Who takes the titles?
I think Awesome Truth take them at WrestleMania.
Makes sense.
So I think there's 0 chance Judgment Day drops them this weekend. I think those are Awesome Truth's titles at WrestleMania.
That'll be a cool moment too. Yeah, the way they've been building up Truth, it makes complete sense.
Yep.
The Miz, man, he could use a good moment. Well wishes to Maurice, and hopefully she gets over
for sure
her illness. Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, we've already covered that. We already have predicted that Rhea Ripley is going to hopefully squash Nia Jax, but it won't happen. They'll probably.
I don't think it'll be a squash, but I think she's gonna win, and there's not going to be any question of who the winner is by the time it's done.
And we basically gave it away for the women's Elimination Chamber. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and the Battle Royale winner. And we both expect Becky Lynch to go over there. What are we doing with Bianca Belair and Naomi and such here at WrestleMania?
Naomi. I'm not sure, but I can see Bianca and Jade teaming up to go
against
after
Tiffany. Maybe
no, I think they go after Damage Control. So
Tiffany will probably be a SmackDown match. God, you don't want Tiffany to get pinned this soon though either. But I don't know. I still like my idea of a women's Intercontinental Championship ladder match for the brand new women's Intercontinental Championship.
I don't hate the idea of a mid-card title for the women at all. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it would be a very nice move to do. The women's division in WWE right now is stacked, and they could definitely benefit from another championship.
The only thing of intrigue, in my opinion, and man, I don't know about Matt's opinion, but is the men Elimination Chamber match for a chance at Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania 40. Your competitors are Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul. Matt, who do you got?
Here's the thing. Smart money is obviously on Drew McIntyre. However, if LA Knight or Randy Orton come out of Elimination Chamber with this title shot, keep your eye on Damian Priest on night 1 of WrestleMania. Yep. Because I could absolutely see Priest cashing in on Rollins on night 1 in that shifting into Priest versus Knight or Priest versus Orton on night 2.
What's your official prediction now?
I'm gonna go with Drew, but I'm not rolling out Orton or LA Knight. The other 3 I think are out of it.
So here's what I told you this last week. Here's what led to my decision of choosing LA Knight. Yeah. The fact that Kevin Owens and Logan Paul are not done with each other. If there was a definitive end to that feud, and as we predicted, LA Knight probably facing Logan Paul for the US title at Mania, then yeah, but that feud is not over, and they're both in the Chamber.
I think that feud continues this Saturday at the Chamber. Yeah,
they're gonna be. It's gonna be KO beating Paul at WrestleMania, and so my prediction for the Elimination Chamber is LA Knight. Yeah, and Priest is not gonna be successful against LA Knight at WrestleMania because dummy. You know whose game it is? It's LA Knight's game. He's going to be world champion walking out of WrestleMania, baby.
One thing Frantic World said, I think we should point out the Mercedes Moné effect. 2 women's matches scheduled for Dynamite in Collision this week, as well as 1 on Rampage. 5 women's matches in AEW this week. That's pretty damn cool. That's pretty damn cool.
Dynamite ones are going to be squashes, but sometimes squashes go a lot longer than they should.
I think we'll get some good matches on Dynamite. We'll see. Depends on who the opponents are.
They're both in that inaction, so they're probably taking on the Renegade Twins, each one of them.
I think one of the Renegade Twins is hurt, so that ain't going to work.
Okay, well, that ain't going to work. All right, any final thoughts before we head to Perth? Oh, wait, we're not heading to Perth, but...
we're definitely not heading to Perth. I hope, I said this before you got on here, I hope Raw's good tonight, because there's no... to me, SmackDown was taped on Friday, so it's not a true go-home show. It's already in the can. So tonight, to me, is the true go-home show for Raw, heading into Chamber, and I hope it gives me some semblance of excitement about this premium live event on Saturday, because right now I really don't have any.
I think the injury to Punk has shifted things so much so to where they kept the heat on Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, and they're gonna give the people what they want. And while he's not going to be the guy to end Roman Reigns' streak, there's a guy finishing his story that's going to do that. But they're going to capitalize while the iron is hot, and LA Knight's going to be a world champion at WrestleMania, and everybody is going to love it. And Cody finishes his story. Everybody's going to love it. We're going to be happy. And with that, thank you for tuning in to Lost the Midcard. Enjoy Monday Night Raw. Enjoy SmackDown. If you haven't read the spoilers, enjoy the Chamber. Matt and I will be back next week with our Elimination Chamber review. Take care. Have a good week.